Welcome to the Urban Wine Club podcast. Pour a glass, sit back, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, this is Foti.
And this is Ari.
And you're listening to the Urban Wine Club podcast.
Today we have a very special guest, star of A&E's hit show Flipping Boston, Peter Souhleris. We sit down with Peter to learn a little bit more about his life, and we want to introduce you to him as well. If you haven't heard of him already, you're going to get to know him today. So grab a glass and join us.
Hey everyone, I'm here with Peter Souhleris, star of A&E's hit real estate show Flipping Boston. And not only is Peter a real estate entrepreneur, but we've got some history together.
Yeah, man.
Some long history.
We go back.
Way back.
I think more than 20 years.
Is it
20 years?
Has it been, wait a minute. Is that how old we are?
That's
So you're what, 30 now?
I was.
He was many years ago.
almost double that.
But why don't we start off by you guys kind of telling me what your history has been, or where did you guys meet? Like, where did this all begin?
You're going to go, I don't even know where we met.
I know, I don't remember.
Before the rivalry, because you both grew up in rival communities.
Are you
Boston
from
and
Lynn?
I grew up in Lynn.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I was neutral. I was in Somerville.
So at one point, I think indirectly we were rivals, but then we came together.
That's it. And we joined teams. And the rest is history.
Right?
Do you have any recollection of actually meeting, or were you guys just kind of in each other's field of vision?
So both of us being in the nightclub business.
So it started in the nightclub business.
I on the promoting side, Peter.
Yeah, as a DJ. So a lot of people don't realize when they see the show Flipping Boston, they're like, "Oh, he's a real estate guy, right?" And then people that know me as a DJ go, "What is a DJ doing flipping real estate?" Right? And then
Right.
And then when
you're multi-talented, you wear many hats.
That's it, right? So people they knew me as a DJ, and what the hell is he doing flipping real estate? Or they know me as a real estate guy from TV, and when I mention the word DJ, they go, "What do you mean? Like you waka 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 DJ?"
Well, you say DJ, but like you were. Like, you weren't like, somebody's 16th birthday party DJ. You were like one of the premier DJs in Boston.
Thanks, man.
Right?
That was the peak of Boston's, I think, in my opinion, nightclub industry.
Yeah, we had fun. I mean, this was, we started in the 90s and went all the way to, I don't know, 2000s, something,
beyond
right?
That. 2000 and teens, is that proper to say?
I think so. Yeah.
We've been doing gigs up until recently. When I say recently, maybe within years, but...
Yeah, once in a while.
Right.
Let me just make this clear. Once in a while, I come out and we'll do an event once a year or something. But I'm not an active resident like I used to be back in the day at Avalon and all.
So let's just take like a minute and talk about your DJing from then. Like where did you spin? Like for the local Boston people who are familiar.
So look, my stories. We say I grew up in Lynn, but I was actually born and raised in Australia.
Really?
Which is, I don't know if
I didn't know that.
Did you know that, Footy?
No, of all the years I've known you.
No,
that's why
I honestly
I
don't
never
know
picked up
that.
the accent.
So I moved here when I was 12, and I used to talk like this. G'day, mate, Pete from Australia. And
That's so funny.
And get into a lot of fights with all the guys, and who's this kid talking funny? So I hated the accent as a kid. I hated the attention. I'm 12 years old. I didn't realize it was actually a cool accent.
That's actually really cool,
right? My wife's like, "Why'd you stop the accent?" So
bring it back.
When I talk to my relatives and stuff, I just go, "Yeah, hi, nice. How are you? How's your mom?"
I never knew that.
Yeah, it just kicks in.
See, we learn something every time.
Yeah.
So I jump into, I moved from Melbourne, jump into Lynn, Sin City, right? Lynn, the city of sin. You never go out the way you came in.
Yeah.
And that's how my
upbringing.
the upbringing, just started there.
Cool.
And then, I don't know, I got into music. I got into it before it was cool and hip to be a DJ and you want to, put a marshmallow hat on, and, which I wish I thought of that idea, because they're killing it, right? But I got into it because I loved it. I just loved music, and I remember buying one turntable because that's all I could afford, and it wasn't the Technics 1200; it was a cheaper version. And then when I saved up some money, I bought a good turntable, and I learned how to just scratch.
So you're self-taught?
Yes. And no, because it wasn't like you can jump online back then and watch YouTube videos, and you can do that today, right? You can get my mentors were, I actually started parking. I was a valet kid at a nightclub, in the North Shore called Chameleons. It was, years ago.
Yeah.
So and I'm watching the DJ just rocking the place and mesmerized by what he was doing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This is awesome. So I'm, just being mentored a little bit by influences and inspirations, and then just going home. And I remember literally all I could do was scratch on the one turntable because I couldn't mix because I only had one. So I learned how to scratch like crazy.
Nice.
And then I bought the second turntable. I started mixing, started doing, high school parties, whatever. I didn't care about money. I just wanted to play music. And I was doing local bars and you name it, man. I was doing everything. And I didn't even care about getting paid. And I was 18, 19 years old,
So what would you consider like your first break into?
My first break, and you guys know this club, was the Hub Club.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Boston.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Hub Club back then. It was called something else. So I get a call from...
That's the one that was in Downtown Crossing.
Yeah.
Washington
It turned into Felt recently.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
That's how it closed, as Felt, right?
Felt,
and I don't know
yes.
if it's still there now, but
I don't know.
but I get a call from, I was going to school to be an architect, and there was a couple of girls that their boyfriend was running an international night at the Hub Club. So they're like, hey, you're a DJ, do you want to do it? And I was like, I'd love to do it. So, and I wasn't an international DJ, but I would go to international nights.
Right.
And I would listen to the 80Ks, and I'd go to M80, right? And he was the one that influenced me a lot because he was
cool.
actually 80K was at Chameleons. So
Wow.
anyway, I do that gig, and the rest is history, man. Because I do that event, and that event kind of people are like, who is this guy? Like everyone's always looking for the next. We're like, we know this DJ, we know this DJ, we know this DJ. Well, we need some young blood,
Right?
And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. I get that gig. That gig, there was a promoter there from Puerto Rico named Hector, who I became very good friends with. So he says, hey, you want to play in Puerto Rico? And I said, I'd love to. And he's like,
Wow.
this is one night, one gig.
One gig.
Lands me
Opens.
this gig in Puerto
Wow.
Rico. So the gig in Puerto Rico, you guys, you've known me for years and you don't know the history,
No,
right?
no.
So I get this gig, and the gig was, he's like, I'm going to fly you out there for the summer. I'm like, what? And I'm like, this guy's drunk. He's, he's all happy. He's, feeling good. He's not going to fly me out there. So I said, listen, buddy, I got gigs here. I can't be, I got to come back and forth. And then he's like, no problem. I'll fly you back and forth. Meanwhile, I had like, a high school prom to do. And, I had like one gig booked in the summertime. So this guy starts flying me back and forth to a club called Amadeus in Puerto Rico. Place is beautiful, packed, jammed.
awesome.
So I go there. There's a rival DJ there from Boston, working at Avalon at the time. Abdul, I don't know if you remember Abdullah,
Yes, I
right?
do very well.
Sounds
So
familiar.
good guy, good, very well known DJ, and we're battling at the same club, same story,
Yeah.
right? And then he's calling back in Boston and saying, this guy Peter's here. What's he doing here? And next thing you know, John Lions
Group.
gets involved from the Lions group, and
Everything
he's like,
just starts falling to place.
so listen, so he starts complaining that Peter is saying that he's playing the sounds of Avalon and M80, because that's what my promoters were doing that. I wasn't doing it. So my promoters were clever, and they were like, DJ Souhleris from Boston playing the sounds of Avalon, M80, Europa, all these big clubs.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I wasn't playing in any of the clubs, right? I was just... And he calls John Lyons, and I found this later on. John called, says, "What do you wait? So they're saying all my names, all my clubs on the radio in Puerto Rico." He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "What do I care? Right? They're promoting me for free."
There you go.
So I come back here after that summer. I do an after hours called Marconi Club in Roxbury.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you guys.
I've heard
So
of it.
this
I never
was
got to
2
go.
in the morning, opens up till 5. Crazy
geez.
co-ed bathrooms,
Oh boy.
I'm 21 years old going, this is awesome. And next thing you know, I land the gig because DJ Manolo was working at Roxy and Europa, and we became friends.
Yes.
And he introduced me to a Greek promoter named Louis, right? Remember Louis Dr.
Yes,
right?
man.
So Louis gets the job managing at Avalon, gets me a break to audition, and that's the... that's the 6-minute version of my 3 years of life, and
So
that's how I popped. It popped.
For everybody, from this area who was around at that time, I'm sure they all know of all the places you're talking about. And
they've definitely
I'm
must
sure
have
they
been
know
to
you,
some
too.
of the events, some of the
Yeah, I
nights,
mean,
some of the
and,
long
and
park-
Avalon's a
long
big
parties.
name. I mean,
yeah.
I heard that there's one in LA right now. I think still there's an Avalon in
There
LA.
still is, yes.
There's an Avalon in Thailand, I believe.
wow.
There was one in New York. I mean, so Avalon went pretty big. So it was as you
It
guys
was.
know, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
the
It was,
club
yeah.
in Boston.
Yeah,
And I was
absolutely.
so blessed, man, to just be at the right time, right place. You had to have some skill, you had to have some talent, you had to have some hustle,
Absolutely.
and you had to hold the room down. When I got the job at Avalon, I thought I was like, oh, I made it, right? No one gave you any respect. I walked in there. They made me wait. Remember Delios, right? He makes me wait. He's the big bouncer at the front club. I knock on the door. I'm like, hey, I'm the DJ. He slammed the door in my face because we don't open until 10. I'm like,
That sounds like Steve.
so no respect, right? He opens the door. He goes to me. He goes, oh, another DJ. He goes, yeah. He goes, don't hold your breath, kid. So you had to earn your right in there, your stake. So
different back
it was
then.
tough, man. I went in there and I played my heart out to keep that job, and then you start getting the respect from the locals, the bartenders, the bouncers, and when you get that respect, and then you have, a decade run like we did, because it was tough, man. DJs were in and out of there 6 months, a year, 2.
Yeah, here today, gone tomorrow.
So that's how I got in, man. I could talk DJing forever. And then, of course, I got lucky with I just feel like blessed with the TV show.
So let's segue, because
so where did we meet, Forty? I don't even know. At what point did we connect?
Well,
and Adi, I remember.
So as you were the rising star in the DJ world.
You were promoting for me, weren't you?
Yes, I was in promotions, running several nights throughout the city, doing small scale weekend events, and then we kind of came together with the idea of doing some big long weekend events. We used to do holiday parties.
That's right.
Together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we brought our networks together.
That's right, because I used to have my network with the international nights,
and we would fill a room of say up to 2,000 people.
We did, man. We don't see that anymore today.
No, not at all.
These were the days where this was pre-smartphone era, right?
Yeah.
So you talk about
how did you let people know to get in there?
That meant we spent days on the phones calling people.
That's right.
Right?
It's crazy.
It was all about networking by phone, which meant we had
flyers,
to call flyers.
Newberry Street, Boston Street.
We was kamikaze flying. Back in
that was
those
a real
days,
deal back then.
So, we crossed paths because of the nightlife industry, because we had something to bring to the table. You had the entertainment part, and we had the the promotions and the actual guest list of people that actually made the night happen. So from that point on, we kind of grew up.
So Peter was a well-known DJ all around this area, and that was some say a peak, but it wasn't your ultimate peak, because fast forward, you guys kind of went your separate ways, but still kept in touch.
Yeah,
still have done stuff. But Peter, from what I know, you kind of did some cool stuff since then.
Yeah.
Mentioned
way cooler stuff.
You mentioned in the beginning A&E's Flipping Boston.
That's pretty surreal. It still is to this day.
Please tell us how did that happen?
So, man, this is a crazy story. I know now how difficult it is to get a hit TV show on a network like A&E.
Sure, yeah.
And I guess I always knew, but going through that process, I don't know. It's surreal, and I'll tell you how that happened too, because there's always a story behind these things. It's not like I went into
happens.
I didn't go into A&E, knock on their door, and say I want to be a TV celebrity, and So, long story short, if you've seen the show, Dave, my partner on the show, right?
Australian guy.
So he's actually British. Everyone thinks he's got a British Boston accent, which makes him Australian.
Well, after you said that you're from Australia originally, then I was like, oh, he's definitely Australian.
Yeah, no, everyone thinks he's Australian because he had this. What's interesting is Australian is what's Boston? Park the car, right? Yeah. So Australian is park the car, right?
British.
It's the
It's like
same
the
thing. And
Boston,
British is more like, I don't know, park the car. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's the Brit. I can do it. But anyway, so I'm doing real estate. I'm DJing. I go to school to be in architecture. So my passion was real estate and architecture, and DJing was kind of my real other passion, my first passion. It's just I loved it, and I didn't realize I made a lot of money DJing, and I didn't start with a business plan. I'm going to do this to make money. I started with a passion to make money.
Yeah.
And I tell my kids this today. It's like, everyone wants their kids to be successful, but what is success?
Correct.
Right?
What
To me,
defines that?
success is when you wake up and you're happy in what you're doing.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's not, and if my kids want to be doctors, and you are happy, like saving lives, because I think good doctors are happy saving lives. You know what I mean?
They
Like
have a call for it.
they have a calling. They're good at it, man. And I've met some really good doctors, and they don't leave their office. They don't freaking leave the hospital. They don't. They're like, I'm here because I got to make sure my patients are okay. That's passion, and that translates and saves lives. So if you want to be a doctor, an attorney, all the stuff that we grew up where our parents say that's what you got to be.
Right.
DJing was the last thing my father wanted me to get involved in. Never mind me saying to him I want to get into TV. You'd say, oh no, good old school Greek guy, So, but I said to myself, all right, I'm passionate about DJing, and then I really got serious about architecture because that's what I wanted to do. And then I started getting into flipping real estate. So I really wasn't architecture. It was really real estate that was attractive to me. And as my early career, and this was probably about 15 years ago, I was trying to get better and better at it. And I took a real estate education course. And one of the things in there was, network, put out there feelers, partner up with people. You can't do it by yourself, right? The basics in success. So I remember putting on an ad in one of my instructors put an ad out in Craigslist. I'm like, Craigslist, right? I'm like, seriously? So I put an ad out in Craigslist that said, looking for experienced real estate investors with cash to JV with, right? So I put that ad out. I'll never forget this. And my phone rings. I put it out on a Friday, and sure enough, that's the busiest time because everyone's home over the weekend, right? And they're looking at ads. So my phone rings, and I'm nervous to answer the phone. I'm like, oh my God, it worked. Oh shit, I got to pick up the phone. So I pick up the phone, and the guy's like, yeah, I saw your ad, so I'm writing his name. Okay, so how much experience do you have? Well, I've done 6 flips, and all right, so there's a nice way of asking how much cash do you have? You don't say how much money's in the bank, but it's so if I looked at a $500,000 flip, is that something are you more like the 200, 300, the 500, the million? So I'm talking to this guy, and I felt a little more comfortable about my elevator pitch. I was like, all right, this ain't bad. I got one, right? So the next call was Dave, the Brit. And I'm like, all right, I got another guy. I said, how you doing, sir? And I'm talking to him, and I said, great, how much, how many houses have you flipped? He's like, oh, I've never flipped a house before.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. I said, and inside of myself, I'm going, this must be the money guy. He's got cash. I said, no problem, sir. I said, well, how much money would you, like to invest? I'm looking at things for 300, 200, 5, $1 million. And he's like, what do you mean, cash? I go, yeah. He goes, buddy, I got no cash. Okay. He goes, I'm $70,000 in credit card debt, and I'm about to short sale my freaking house.
Oh, perfect.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, this guy needs a straitjacket because apparently, I'm like, did you see the ad, buddy? He goes, I saw the ad, but I figured I'd call you, man. I want to get into real estate, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. So but he was a nice guy. He had a likable tone to him,
just
right?
from that phone call.
Yeah,
wow.
and he had the balls to call me.
Yeah.
All right, so it just tells you in life,
You
sometimes just
never know,
do it.
Right? Yeah.
Cause think about that.
Because 99% of people would have just hung up.
I would have hung up on him, but he had the balls to call me. He did it. He called me, and then he's like, what are you doing? And I was doing a condo conversion at the time in Lynn, and he was a Lynn firefighter. So he's like, do you mind if I come by? And I was like, yeah, come by. So he comes by with probably some coffee and donuts. I don't remember now. But he was likable. He was a good guy. And he wanted to get in the business. So he was constantly, how do I get in? And I said, buddy, in real estate, it's not the money. It's finding the deal. That's what the deal is in real estate. It's not really, because I've got guys that will have $1 million, $2 million, but they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then if you said to me, Fortiati, if you said, hey, that house over there that, all of them sell for $500,000, but that house there, you know what, here's the situation. They got into a, whatever. They're motivated because their father just passed away and the person lives in Ohio, and we know that if he actually put $100,000 into it, he could sell it and make, $100,000, right. But he doesn't have the means for it. He doesn't even want to fly out here. If he puts it on the market and he sells it for, $350 with a broker, he might get it, he might not get it, maybe $375, but they've, winter's coming, they've got to heat it, they've got no insurance, they're afraid it's going to burn, they're finding looters in there. So, but he said to me, $250 cash, but you got to close it in 2 weeks because my insurance policy closes in 2 weeks and I'm so nervous. And I say to them, and you might say, well, just put it on with the real estate agent. We can't wait 2 months, 3 months.
Right.
Even if you get a good offer from a bona fide person, it's going to take at least 45 days on average, right? Unless someone really comes in like me, cash. So if you found that deal for $250, and you said, well, I don't know if I have the $250 right now, cash, can you find someone to do that deal with you?
Right.
And the answer is yes, because there's meat on that bone. Because if you go put 100 into that thing for $350 and you sell it for $500 minus commissions and soft costs, you're still going to walk out with $100,000.
That's not
so
a bad
can
day's
you
worth of
find?
work.
Yeah, I mean, people are working for 35, 40, 50,000 all year. You know, that's the hard part in real estate, finding the deal. And if you know how to do it, it's not hard, and I know how to do it. So that's what Dave wanted from me. And I said, Dave, this is what I want from you. Go find the deal.
Right, because there's always deals out there.
Go find the deal. Go out on the street, find the deal. And he would come back and say, I got a deal. And that's not a deal, Dave. You know, why not? I got it for $3. We put 100 into it. We sell it for $450. We make $50. I'm like, what about real estate commissions? What about carrying costs? What about,
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, we're making $6,000, buddy. Go find another deal. Oh, okay. So every no to him was a learning experience. And finally, he brings in a deal. And I'm like, buddy, I think we got a deal. I think we can make $150,000 on this thing. So I figured the deal. We did the deal. And he made some money. I made some money. But for him, it was his first deal. It's like you take the training wheels off. Nobody can tell you after you do your first deal that you can't do this again.
Right.
Just like anything in life we do. You know what I mean? Before you took the training wheels off the bike, you're like, I don't know, I'm going to crack my face open. And today, try telling you that, you know, someone telling you, you're going to crack your face if you drive a straight line. You're like, no, I'm not, dude. I mean, I felt like that when I was 5, 6, 10, whatever. So Dave and I started our relationship with that. And I'm like, Dave, go find another deal. Well, I don't know, a couple of months later, he finds out that A&E's looking for a new flip show. He fills out the application, forges my name, steals my picture from Facebook, passes it in, fills it with vulgarity, you know, profanity, and just me and the effing Greek and flip houses and combined. This is the best line. I've been doing it for about, how long? Probably about 13 years at the time, right?
Wow.
Maybe 14 years, and he was doing it for, I don't know, we did one flip together. So call it 1 year. So it's like combined, we have over 15 years of real estate experience, right? So he puts it out there. Someone sees it. A&E gets it. They fly down here. They do a little pilot.
I remember that.
Yeah, they do a little pilot, and then he and I looked at each other like, okay, we're not going to get this because this is one in a gazillion, right? That you get a TV show.
Yeah.
We're not going to get it, but man, wasn't it fun to just go through this process today?
Yeah.
Cameras, lights, action.
Right.
We spent a day filming. They edit it down to like a 6-minute little pilot. They ship it to A&E, and we're like, all right, they're never going to call us idiots again. Let's get back to work.
Right.
And I don't know, 3 months later, we find out that we got signed with A&E.
That's awesome.
I kind of have to say it like that because how else do I say that story? It's like it went from nothing to that.
See,
You know?
Crazy.
You just-
and
you
it
never
was
know.
from a phone call, which any normal person would have been like, all right, see
We
you
kid
later.
around, right? So Dave's like, if I didn't put that application in, we'd never got. Then I said, if I never put that Craigslist ad out, buddy,
Yeah.
we'd never be having. You know what I mean?
Go back to the roots.
Which way you look at it, you're right.
But it doesn't matter. Like we both contributed to that. Dave's a super good guy. You know, he's real estate abilities today are superior because you know we did a lot together. So we did 4 seasons, and our first season, you're supposed to pilot, test it, and then if it tests, they order a season. So for whatever reason, they looked at our 6-minute clip and they ordered 6 episodes.
That's
They just went
crazy.
straight to a season.
Wow.
So we were flattered by that. We were like, that's
Yeah.
cool. And then our first show aired as the #1 Saturday morning programming lifetime style in the history of A&E or something.
Wow,
and I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
what?
There you go.
And we didn't realize that it was the banter of he and I just kind of.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many episodes I would watch with the family just to let people know that I know this dude.
Yeah.
Like we spent years together, and he's on TV.
So just for the audience out there, if you haven't seen the show, how can they watch it
So
now?
it's on Prime Video now. So
Oh,
I mean,
perfect.
anyone has Amazon Prime Video app, just go on, search Flipping
Flipping
Boston.
Boston.
And we're not flipping you the bird; it's flipping houses.
There you
And yeah, man, it's 4 seasons. It's 29 episodes, 30 episodes. It was crazy. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. And I
So-
remember we actually did a club night where it was a
Yeah.
throwback night where
Actually-
you DJ'd and you had the whole crew because you guys were filming.
Yeah. You know what? That I don't know if that made one of the episodes, but I know I DJ'd in Vegas, and that made the episode.
Oh, did it? Okay, cool.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah.
so you actually are DJing on the show.
I'm DJing on one episode on the show.
That's
I
awesome.
I forget what it's called. Where,
So then the audience out there could not only see his real estate skills, but you could also check
Yeah.
out his DJ skills
a
if
little
you
bit.
haven't.
There you go.
And also, we should also mention that Peter's made plenty of appearances in other shows outside of your A&E segments such
give
as
us some examples.
Senior and Rachel Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Rachel Ray is always on at the house.
She's awesome. Rachel Ray, Kathy Lee and Hoda.
Today
Oh,
Show,
wow.
right?
Today's Show, and she's CNBC. Me and Dave are on CNBC.
That's
like
big time right there.
Yeah,
it's
that's
surreal.
huge.
It's surreal. We're on CNBC. Like, what are we doing here? A couple of guys that just beat each other up, flip real estate. But people want your knowledge in real estate, and we know. I'm very good at knowing my markets. I know what's going on in real estate. I got my ear to the ground, and so people want you. They just want your knowledge. It was fun. It's fun. We get called up. I was on Rachel Ray last month, so we just did one last month, which was fun. And we never know what we're doing. She'll call us up. Her team will call us up and say, "Hey, we want you to do this segment." We're like, "All right, let's just go. Let's have fun."
There you go.
So she's fun.
That's awesome.
They treat
great.
you good. You go into New York. You get your little room, and Dave gets a lot of makeup, not me.
That's incredible. And so this is still ongoing. Like you guys are.
Yeah,
still
so
doing
we're doing appearances. We're not filming new episodes right now. I always say that can change. I talk to my producers once in a while, and they pitch me shows here and there, and I'm sure they just, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And if it's the right thing, it's the right time.
Yeah.
I got little kids, and I'm very
family
blessed to have the kids. And I just, after this, I told you guys, I was like, I'm picking up my daughter, we're going to basketball. You know what I mean? And that to me is like oh man, like you guys, so that's awesome. And I know once, my daughter's 12, my son's 8. When she goes to college, like it changes, right? So these years I can't get back. So
Absolutely.
I am not sacrificing
You gotta make
these
time. You gotta
for
make time.
TV, for anything. If something right comes along, I'll consider it. They did pitch me an interesting one. So they pitched me.
Say?
Yeah, they pitched me. This never happened. It never took off. But they pitched me one called my Big Greek Flip. And I was like, what?
Does that mean they're going to send you to Greece to flip?
No, I saw.
Can you imagine?
Are we going to Mykonos? Because maybe there's exceptions, kids. All right, let's pack up your stuff. But no, they wanted kind of like the whole family, because my kids are in the show also.
Get all the family.
Yeah, like
involved.
the craziness of a Greek family.
Like, is it going to turn into this cheesy, my big fat Greek wedding thing? And they're like, no, it's going to be tastefully done. And I was like, oh man, you can see it right now in the backyards, cooking the lamb at Easter time, and
that's so funny.
Grandma's, falling over people and
a
drinking.
lot of characters.
It never happened.
We don't want to put Peter on the spot, but Forty and I are planning some big events in the Boston area, and we want to get Peter in there. So you guys are witness here.
I'm in.
Exactly.
I'm in.
You can't say no now.
I love it, man. If I do 1 or 2 gigs a year, just for fun. I told you a couple of weeks ago I played with DJ Manola in Atlantic City.
Mentioned that,
Atlantic City.
Yeah,
Wow.
he had his birthday party, and he's like, "Oh, come down for my birthday and jump on the wheels with me for a little bit." So I did a little set with him.
That must have been fun.
Oh, it was awesome. It was like back in the day. You know, he and I used to go at it together.
I could just imagine the
Another icon
energy
in the
just
city.
comes
It was
flowing back.
cool. You know what's interesting with him? We think the same on the turntables. It's not turntables anymore. It's Pioneer DJ decks, whatever. But we think the same. Like I kind of know where he's going, even if I haven't played with him in 10 years. Like I know where he's going.
That's called chemistry, right there.
And in this booth there was 4 decks, so he's mixing and I'm jumping on the other 2, and I'm like sampling on top of him.
That's so
And it just was like, you can't do that with everybody because you can be annoying. It's like get out of here, I'm mixing.
No, you guys are a good match.
But it's fun.
Awesome.
He's a good dude.
That's awesome.
And I'm sure at the same token, our listening audience, with all of our guests, being that it's a wine podcast and so forth.
What?
That's right. Are we drinking? What are we doing?
We're drinking. Right now, we're drinking. What are we drinking right now?
What is
Fluffy?
this?
So being that today happens to be, it's November. It's kind of raw outside, kind of cool, rainy and so forth, damp. So I brought for us something that will be a little more soothing. Even though Peter likes to drink white wine, right? Every time we go out, Peter's always ordering.
I'm not a big wine drinker, but I look at Foot and I go, what am I drinking?
Yeah.
I like
And then I
That's
just
what
take
I
a
do.
look at Peter and see how he's feeling, and we order what based on his mood. So yeah, typically drink whites, right? But I brought for us a red wine from a collaboration between the brand Life is Good and 90 Cellars. They put out a couple of SKUs of wines. I brought their Pinot Noir, which is really smooth, easy drinking. See, you guys have been almost done with it.
Yeah. So what's the collaboration here?
So it's the brand Life is Good.
Okay.
both Boston-based operations, 90-plus sellers, which has done phenomenal work in the wine industry as far as bringing value to the table. And proceeds of the purchase of their wines go to a kids' charity. But, we commend them for doing that. But
I love charity.
Speaking of charities,
I'm going to give a little
yeah,
plug, too.
please,
Absolutely.
please.
As you know, around the holiday seasons, we're actually doing our event is this Saturday. We prepare food baskets for, needy families for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So we're trying to put together 500, 600 food baskets this week. We
wow.
started this.
Bless you.
Yeah, man. We started this when my daughter was born, like 12 years ago, and we put together 10 food baskets. And that was, awesome. And we wanted my daughter to see that giving is natural and
Correct.
part of life. It's not like when I make my first $20 or my million or gazillion, I help. It's like it starts as soon as humans open their eyes, and now we're feeding. We're feeding between food pantries and baskets thousands of people, man.
That's amazing.
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
So you have an annual event?
We have an annual event that you guys have, you've been to,
definitely,
and
yes.
you guys have been to the event, and that happens. That next one is in March of next year now, and that event raises, the funds to buy the provisions needed to provide families with food. And Christmas time, we do toys and coats and gloves and hats for kids.
Oh wow!
But we
That's
do
amazing.
our food basket event is this Saturday. I don't know when. What's today's time? Or whatever. This Saturday at St. Constantine's in Helen, and then we do it the week before, 2 weeks before Christmas again.
And is
And
there?
it's www.christianangelsmile.org.
We'll also link that from the
Yeah,
podcast.
someone
as
wants
well.
to donate. If you donate,
Yeah, please check that out.
yeah, if you donate every $50 feeds a family. So if you donate a
Wow,
food
that's
basket
great.
for $50, we give them all the fixings for a Thanksgiving dinner and a gift card to go buy their turkey and stuff, and the same thing
Great.
for Christmas. So that's fun, man. That's really cool.
That's awesome. So, anything else you
Anything-
want to touch upon? Anything else?
in the pipeline that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I'm DJing this big event that you guguys are putting together.
Oh yeah,
so-
we'll keep you all informed.
have people get tickets from now, even though they're not ready.
There you go.
Well, listen.
Maybe I can bring Manny here too.
that'd be
Oh, absolutely.
We'll bring Manny in too and do a nice throwback.
Well, let's
That would be
let's
awesome.
put it out. We're working on something. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way.
All right,
Yeah,
sounds
we're
good.
definitely working on something. Well,
All right, we want to say a very special thank you to Peter Souhleris. It was very nice talking to you. Very
too.
interesting. We learned, even though we know you, we learned
Yeah, see?
a bunch of stuff, and hopefully everybody out there.
Next time I'm asking you guys questions. We got to find
that's
the
a good
dirt on
point
you.
because even though this is our first, Peter's first appearance with us on our podcast, it won't be the last.
All right, sounds good, man.
not.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Peter.
All right,
you.
guys. Thank you very much.